Hi guys, welcome back to the Home and Homestead. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new, I'm Rebecca. Now today we're going to be heading to the kitchen and we're going to be doing some baking. We'll be making a golden pudding monkey bread. So this is a really gooey and caramely sauced monkey bread recipe. It's great for breakfast or brunch, and even better yet, you can prepare this the night before, which is what I'll be doing today. If you don't want to, you can certainly prepare all this the day of and just allow a shorter rise time. Now you can use your own homemade dinner rolls for this recipe, or you could use store-bought frozen dinner rolls. I'll be doing the latter in order to make this recipe super easy. So let's head to the kitchen so we can put together our golden pudding monkey bread. Now for preparing this recipe, you could either do it all the day of and prepare and make your own homemade dinner rolls, allow them to rise, and then go from this starting point, or there's the option of starting to prepare this recipe the evening before, which is what I did this time. Now I have 24 frozen dinner rolls that are store-bought. Rhodes is a nice brand to try for that, but you can use whatever brand variety you prefer. And I placed them into a mixing bowl and covered it with the towel and placed them into the refrigerator. Now overnight they have more than doubled, and they're nice, large, thawed and risen dinner rolls. So I'll just put these onto this cutting board here. And we're going to portion these out into smaller sizes. Let me just spray this bowl to make our life a little easier. Now normally I will prepare this recipe the day of, which is what I started to do yesterday, and then the day just got away from me and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do the prepare ahead way and stick these into the refrigerator. So now what I'm going to do is take these completely thawed and risen frozen store-bought dinner rolls, and I'm gonna cut them into quarter pieces. If you're doing this all on the same day, you could take your frozen dinner rolls once they've just started to thaw enough to be workable and cut them into quarter pieces. I like to do the quarter portion pieces because then more of your monkey bread dough will get this gooey, delicious sauce that we're going to prepare onto them. So I'm going to take my kitchen shears here and try to find where these dinner rolls used to be, because they have thawed and risen so beautifully in the refrigerator. If I would have known that I was doing the plan ahead, I would have cut them already, but that's okay. This will work out just fine. So now I'm going to continue to cut this dinner roll dough into quarter pieces, and we'll come back for the next step. Now that our dinner roll dough has been cut into quarter pieces, we're going to start adding some of the ingredients to make our delicious caramely golden pudding sauce. Now if you were to be making this using your own homemade dinner rolls, you'd be starting from here. If you're doing this the day of and you allowed your dinner rolls to just thaw enough to cut them into the quarter pieces, you'd be starting from here as well. So in a small mixing bowl, I have a ½ cup of white sugar or granulated sugar and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I also have one 3.5 ounce box of butterscotch cook and serve pudding. And I mix them all together in this little bowl. So now what we're going to do is toss our dough pieces with this cinnamon, sugar, and butterscotch pudding mixture that we've created. Now you can use your hands and toss them just to coat all of your dough pieces. These are so thawed and ready to go that they're actually kind of sticking together, but that's okay. We'll get in here. Once you get the dough pieces coated evenly with this mixture, then they won't stick together so much. That's why I like to get in there with my hands and toss these pieces with that. Normally when I'm doing this make ahead, I will actually toss the dough pieces with this mixture after they've been cut into quarter pieces and allowed to rise in the refrigerator overnight, and then you can just add the final sauce ingredients and get them into the oven. There we go. They're nicely coated now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a bundt cake pan. I have a USA pan, bundt cake pan, so I don't need to grease or prepare this in any way. If your bundt cake pan requires greasing, buttering, flouring, whatever for preparation, make sure you do that because you want your sticky and gooey monkey bread creation to come out of your bundt cake pan easily later. And I like to put it on top of a baking pan. This is a nice rimmed one. You can also use a nice large cookie sheet because this could bubble over and you want a pan underneath to catch your gooey goodness so it doesn't burn in your oven. So now we're going to place our coated dough pieces into our bundt cake pan. And now in a separate bowl, I have a half cup of butter, which is melted, which is 1 stick of butter, and a half cup of brown sugar. And I just mixed that together, and that created a nice caramely sauce here with that butter and brown sugar. So now what we're going to do is drizzle this over the top. Of our monkey bread dough pieces. And as this bakes, this delicious sauce will go into all the little nooks and crannies here and create an even more gooey and delicious sauce for us. Now we're going to cover our bundt cake pan with some aluminum foil. So I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees and we're going to bake this for about 30 minutes. 20 minutes with the aluminum foil cover on and about 10 minutes with the cover off. Now for the last 5 minutes or so, you're going to want to watch this really closely because this will go from a beautiful golden brown to very dark quickly at the end of baking. So let's get this into the oven to bake to make our golden pudding monkey bread. All right, our golden pudding monkey bread has finished baking and it took about 30 minutes to get to this point. So it's nice and golden brown on top and you can see the gooey caramely sauce within all the little spaces and crevices here. So now what I'm going to do is allow this to cool just slightly on the cooling rack here. Then I'm going to invert my bundt cake pan over. I have a nice large tart baking dish and I'm going to invert the bundt cake pan into this, and this will be my serving dish for the golden pudding monkey bread. You could also use a nice serving platter or round serving plate. So I'm just going to allow this to cool slightly and we'll do that process. So this has been cooling just for a few minutes now. So you can take whatever dish you're planning to use for serving, put it on top of your bundt cake pan, and then flip it upside down. There we go. Just slide this over. All right, so now we're going to allow this to cool a little bit more. Then we'll have a closer look and a taste of our golden pudding monkey bread. All right, here we have our golden pudding monkey bread. Now this is a really gooey and delicious breakfast or brunch item that you can prepare. And there's 3 ways you can go about making this. One, you can do this all the day of baking. So you can prepare either your homemade favorite recipe for dinner rolls and add and toss with the cinnamon sugar and pudding mix and drizzle over the top with our butter and brown sugar mix and bake them all within the same day. All that you would have to take into account is the number of hours it would take for your dinner rolls to rise. So this may be more of a late morning or brunch type of item. But you can also serve this as dessert. This is lovely with some vanilla ice cream, so don't forget to consider that as well. The second way that you could prepare this recipe is to simply take your frozen dinner rolls, put them into a mixing bowl, and allow them to thaw and rise overnight in the refrigerator. Now that does end with a nice result, as you can see today. However, taking apart those different dinner roll dough pieces the next day and then cutting them into quarters and tossing them with the ingredients like we did today can be a little more involved of a process, but it's still very doable, as you saw. My favorite way is probably option number 3, which is the evening before. I have my dinner roll dough, whether it be homemade or the frozen kind. And if I'm using the frozen kind, once that has thawed just enough to be able to cut, I cut them into the quarter pieces. I toss them with the sugar, cinnamon, and pudding mix, put them right into the bundt cake pan, and then cover that bundt cake pan either with a towel or cling wrap, and I stick that right in the refrigerator. That way, when I get up in the morning, I simply can take that bundt cake pan out of the refrigerator, preheat the oven, and drizzle the top with the butter and brown sugar mixture, and bake this delicious golden pudding monkey bread. So you can just choose to prepare this recipe whichever way works best for you and your schedule. So now let's dive in and have a taste of our golden pudding monkey bread. I like to just go in and tear off a few pieces. It's nice and soft. And since we tossed everything together, the sauce has incorporated and stuck to all the sides of our dough. Here's a closer look at our monkey bread. By cutting the monkey bread dough into the quarter pieces, they're a great little bite-sized piece and a lot more surface area to get that gooey goodness on. So if you're looking for a really easy and delicious recipe to prepare for breakfast or brunch, or as I said earlier, you can certainly serve this for dessert. I hope you give this recipe a try. If you'd like more ideas or inspiration on sweet treats and baking recipes, I have playlists on the topic, so be sure to check those out. I have recipes that are super easy and quick to put together, as well as some lovely homemade recipes. Now, if you happen to be new to the channel or haven't done so yet, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. So please be sure to hit that subscribe button below and continue to watch my channel, The Home and Homestead, for some more homemade, homegrown, and home style inspiration. Well, I hope that you're having a wonderful day. See you next time. Take care.